Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Starwell. It's been a while since I've done this type of video. It's actually been a long time. But let's look at what reruns might be coming up in the near future. And also, my feeling on which characters are worth pulling for at the moment. And again, things to look out for in that near future. This was great thanks to Reddit for the history of the reruns, and it gives you a sense for some characters that haven't come up in a long time. But I do have some things to say about those for sure. We know for a fact that patch 2.7 will be Sunday and Jingyuan, then Fuge, new Tingyun with Firefly. It's a spicy patch, right? All of these, well, not all of them, several of these characters are very good. Jingyuan, this is the easy one. I have Jingyuan, would not recommend pulling for him. I would, and in fact, we can say, let me cover, there's a decent, this would be my predictions. We know for a fact that the Herta, a 5-star version of Herta, who's going to be Ice Erudition, and Aglia, hopefully I spelled it right, who's the first Remembrance characters, whoops, spoilers, Lightning Remembrance are coming up, and I'm guessing that these might be the reruns. I'm unsure about this one. I think Jade is very likely. Boot Hill, I think, is a pretty good guess. But this is stuff that might be coming up as well. So just to put that in context too, I think Jingyuan is pretty weak. What I have heard is that, well, Sunday. The reason is Sunday, right? Sunday, action advances. He's Bronya style. There's a bunch of playtests of him just went live today from the test server. Action advances not only characters, but their summons as well. So Sunday plus Jingyuan is an incredibly powerful combo. But from what the rumors are saying, what we've been hearing, Remembrance characters are going to be all about summons. And this is a brand new path. We're expecting lots of Remembrance characters. We're going to have a Remembrance version of the main character coming out as well. Sunday is looking to be super strong. Number one, people are saying that he's just better than Bronya and better than Sparkle, and better than 4-star Tingyun, better than everyone for that single target hyper carry buffing. He's just next level. So he's extremely good for that. And he is likely to be very, very good for probably multiple versions of these Remembrance characters as well. Now, I think he's even good at Boot Hill, by the way. Because Bronya's good with Boot Hill, right? Probably my only concern with Sunday is it could be a Sparkle situation. That's the only concern. Where, Sparkle is like, oh, she's better than Bronya, right? This is the new buffer. And Sparkle's the only pull I regret. Sparkle, honestly, kind of sucks at the moment. Maybe she'll come back into the game, but let's be real. Right now, she's pretty bad. It's just the way it is, I'm afraid. So, yeah, bit awkward there. And, Robin came out pretty soon after Sparkle and really blew Sparkle out of the water. It's not even a question. Robin is so much better than Sparkle is. The same sort of thing could happen potentially with Sunday, right? There could be an AoE buffer, like a team-wide buffer for summons and stuff that's just better than Sunday. I think there's a greater than zero possibility that could happen. I mean, looking from the playtest, he does seem to be better. And I mean, Bronya sort of held on to relevance really well for a long time. So I do have faith that Sunday could be pretty good. So Sunday's very much worth pulling. Now, Sunday makes Jingyuan way better from what we're seeing from the playtests. However, Aglia, it's rumored to basically be a similar sort of thing. And I think if you're pulling Sunday and you're going, oh, Jingyuan would be great to put with my Sunday, you're probably better off waiting one patch and picking up Aglia. She is newer, shinier, and heck, you know what? If she turns out to not be good, there's also potential that because she's the first limited Remembrance character, that she could be in the standard banner, right? And you could be picking up copies of her if you lose 50/50s on limited banners in the future. If she's not really worth pulling for, there's bound to be characters in 3.1 or 3.2 that are going to synergize really well at Sunday as well. So if you've got, for me, I've got Jingyuan already. I'm pulling Sunday. I'm super happy about it. That's going to give me a really good... Sunday's going to make my Jingyuan fantastic. I don't have Acheron, and I'm also not going to pull Aglia. I don't think. I think it's very unlikely, highly unlikely I pull for Aglia. So Pulling Sunday basically gets me, though, a top tier AoE, like probably top tier DPS in every game mode for Lightning in Jing Yuan, which is great. It's a nice combo for me, but I would not pull for Jing Yuan and Sunday unless you've got tons of because they're so. I think these other characters are just better. I'd be skipping him, but Sunday is a pretty high priority pull. I think Fuge is really good as well. I've seen polls and stuff on YouTube. People don't seem to be too hyped up about Fuge. I personally, I don't have Firefly. I'm pulling Fuge over Firefly. I'll tell you right now. I think Fuge looks fantastic. She enables like super break. She's creating like exo toughness, so you can break enemies twice. She can allow a character to, I think at maybe, is it 50% break efficiency or something, that they can break off element enemies. Her ultimate is a colorless break. It can break anything. I think that's really, really strong. Really, really strong. Firefly achieves a sort of similar effect because she can implant fire weakness, and that's very useful. But I think Fuge, or Fugue, is going to be extremely good. I think she's going to be brilliant for break teams just in general in the future. And yeah, like I can use Ling Sha with Fugue for fire breaking, and that's going to be fine. It's great. Himiko is going to go extremely well with Fugue because I believe the Exo Toughness can trigger Himiko Talent. Like I'm pretty confident I can muddle through even with a Zhuyi or something for break, and just picking up other characters in the future and turning them into break characters with Fugue. I think it's going to be pretty good. And what I like about her is very often I run into the problem again because I don't have Firefly. You've got like, it could be a mostly fire weak like Pure Fiction or whatever, but then there's that one enemy that's not weak to fire, or maybe there's a couple that are only weak to imaginary, and you're waiting for Harmony Trailblazer to break them, and it takes ages, and it really slows you down. Fugue basically makes that a non-problem because you can break them even if you don't have that coverage. You can break them. And yeah, I think Fugue also is going to, from what people are saying, probably work really well with Boot Hill, be amazing with Rappa, and any future break character. I think she fits in super, super well. Firefly is obviously great. My concern would be perhaps she's a bit tied to Harmony Trailblazer. It becomes a bit awkward, perhaps, to run her without. And I don't know how good Remembrance Trailblazer is going to be. And obviously in the future Trailblazers, that's far enough away. I don't think you really care. You're going to pull way more stuff by then and not care. But yeah, I'm personally going for Fugue. And I think it's going to be really strong. But I think Firefly is totally reasonable as well. She's extremely powerful, easy to build. You do kind of really want Ron May and Harmony Trailblazer to go with her, though. If you don't have those, it's a bit of a tougher sell. Let me know what you think about this. For me, I'm looking to pick up both Sunday and Fugue. That's my plan. Now in 3.0, Herta Ice Erudition. This is definitely something to watch out for. I've heard that Herta is going to work really well with like other Erudition characters. That's why I think Jade is very, very likely to rerun with her. And I believe we're also getting the Pure Fiction rework, which again makes me really confident. Like this is probably the most confident prediction I've ever made, that Jade will be rerunning alongside Herta. It sounds like they're going to be perfect partners for each other. We've got the new Pure Fiction rework. I think that depending on how difficult the new Pure Fiction is, these are both potentially strong characters to go for. My main concern is like 4-star Herta, a monster for Pure Fiction. This is my concern. Is it going to be the case that the Herta, the 5-star version, is just unnecessary? Why bother when you've got 4-star Herta? Why bother? Or will they make Pure Fiction way more difficult, so 4-star Herta is not going to cut it? In which case, then, yeah, things like having like Rappa or Ling Sha with a Fugue, or having the Herta with regular Herta or Jade, that becomes really, really important. I don't know. It's my experience that just the communities online tend to really, really, really strongly undervalue pulling for Pure Fiction units, and that's bad. One thing I have heard about the Herta is that she actually has got pretty strong like single target damage as well, which I'm very intrigued. This could be quite strong for ice coverage. Ice is a pretty weak element, and if we do have a main ice character coming in, This is definitely something to watch out for, right? Especially if they bring in, I think Remembrance Trailblazer is ice as well. It might become awkward, especially if you don't pull for Sunday, and then they start bringing out like ice Remembrance characters. Like, there's a pretty good chance that ice weaknesses could be pretty common, and you might really struggle. Like Yanxing is just kind of terrible. 4-star Herta is amazing, but only for AoE, not for, Apocalyptic Shadow, like not for smaller numbers, not for MOC. It's no good. Like, what do you do? Misha is pretty rubbish as well. It gets pretty rough if there's going to be a lot of ice element enemies, and you don't have Jing Liu or the Herta or anyone. Like, if you don't have that coverage, it could get a little bit tricky. And we know that Honkai Star Rail, they love to cater towards the newer characters. So I am definitely, yeah, that's something to really watch out for. If you skip Sunday and the Herta, considering we're going to have Ice Remembrance Trailblazer and Ice Erudition Herta, there could be ice weakness all over the place. And do you have a plan for that? Are you prepared? Will you be able to handle it? That's definitely something to watch out for. So I am actually definitely considering pulling for the Herta. It's definitely something to consider. But Jade is also a great option as well. It's going to depend for me how things stack up, really. Jade is amazing for pure fiction. That's very valuable. Decent as well for some, even some Memory of Chaos stuff, and even some Apocalyptic Shadow, right, for breaking quantum weakness enemies. I mean, presuming the Herta's going to be really strong and she's Erudition, Jade should pair really well. They should be like a perfect pairing together. I'd love to pick up both, but I probably won't have enough pulls, to be honest. But that's sort of what I'm considering. I have to see playtests and make sure that Jade actually is coming before making a definitive statement. We've got plenty of time until that happens, though, anyway. But I think this is likely to be more important than this. I think most players are going to have better lightning coverage than they're going to have quantum or ice coverage, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, it depends what Aglia does, but yeah, I'm not expecting her to be a high priority pull, is my thoughts. I do think Boot Hill coming back is fairly likely. It's been a while since we've seen him. 8 different patches. When did he come out? He came out in 2.2, along the same time as Robin, who's had a rerun a good bit ago. We've just had Acheron and Aventurine rerun. We've had Sparkle Black Swan. Now, there hasn't been a rerun for Dr. Ratio, but I think he's a pretty low priority pull. He's a weird one. So we're definitely due Boot Hill. I think it's a good spot for Boot Hill, honestly. Yeah, I think running him near Fugue is kind of nice, right? Kind of tempting to run Boot Hill with Fugue. They go well together. Boot Hill also goes pretty well at the Sunday. So, I think it fits in reasonably well. I could totally see it. And if he's not here, I think he'll come back pretty soon. So that's tempting. Now, some other stuff here as well. So there's definitely a possibility they could rerun multiple characters at the same time. I think there's 3 pretty low priority characters: Zila, Silverwolf, and Dr. Ratio. None of them have had a run. They've all been waiting ages. 14 patches since Dr. Ratio's banner, 16 since the last Silverwolf, 18 since the last Zila. None of them are, in my opinion, really that strong to pull for. I wouldn't really recommend any of them. So I could totally see at least one, maybe even 2 of them, like mixed into some sort of multi-rerun. Like, instead of just Boot Hill, I could easily see like they go in and be like multiple hunts, just be like Boot Hill, Zila, Dr. Ratio, just boom, cool. 3 different hunt characters. That could happen. Or maybe they'd mix in, like, I don't know. It's also been a little while since the Fushuan. We could see something coming in to give you a healer option, a sustain option too. But I could definitely see some multi-reruns happening as a way to sort of smuggle reruns of these bad characters in that people don't really want. When they did the last multi-rerun, what did they do? It was with Kafka and Black Swan were both in there. It was Kafka, Black Swan, and Robin alongside Fei Xiao. So it was like the ultimate partner for Fei Xiao with Robin, and then 2 dot characters going together. That's interesting. Now, here's one that could definitely happen together. People have been saying there could be characters coming up soon that are good at manipulating HP, So kind of Blade style characters or Jing Liu style characters. I could absolutely see a triple banner of like Blade, Locha, maybe even Jing Liu. How long has it been since her? It's been a good while since her. I could see some of these HP manipulation characters all coming again fairly close back to back. I could see that being a thing as like, okay, let's bring the HP manipulation meta is honestly, let's be real, pretty much abandoned. I could see that really coming back and being a bit of a focus. And I actually think that there's something to be said for this, right? I think with Blade especially, he's a character that I think has grown in value. I know, but I do think he's grown in value. Maybe with the new Pure Fiction he will as well. But just with like enemies like Hule, you know, these faster enemies that are attacking a lot. Blade, it's been ages since we had a rerun for Blade. Man, if there are new characters that actually synergize and work with him, that could actually, he could actually be like kind of okay, right? If you're not running Black Swan, oh, so excuse me, if you're not running Black Swan for Dot and you don't have Fei Xiao, you know, potentially that sort of HP manipulation meta coming up, Blade could actually fit in pretty well into that, fit well for countering faster enemies, enemies that are attacking a lot. Maybe he'd be good for a new Pure Fiction, rework stuff as well. I don't know, maybe. Like, for me, what's her name? Yun Li has been really strong, right, for countering those faster enemies that attack all the time. She's a beast. She's great. So I do think that counterattack meta could be good. And yeah, it's definitely something. Let's put this in Jing Liu. I could totally see it. I could totally see that stuff happening. In terms of other high priority reruns, then that would come in some of the newer stuff. I think Ling Sha is pretty high priority. Obviously, if you've got Acheron, that sort of thing, then you could see Zhao Cho being very high priority as well. Then I guess the other new character, we've just had Rappa, but I think Rappa again is pretty nice. And if you pick up Fugue, or Fugue, I think it's Fugue is how you say it. If you pick up Fugue, then Rappa could be decent. Could be decent moving forwards, especially if Imaginary Harmony Trailblazer, you know, gets switched over to Remembrance and it's kind of full-time Remembrance. You might struggle a bit with that imaginary breaking for that team, and you know, Rappa might surge in value a little bit. I'm curious for that. So yeah, like I could totally again see some sort of multi-rerun as well with like Ron Mei alongside Lingsha or Ron Mei alongside Rappa. I could totally see like a trio banner like that as something that could totally happen too. That's not outside the realm of possibility. I mean, they could totally do like Boot Hill plus Ron Mei plus Lingsha or something. Like they could do some real nasty stuff. Yeah, I think that's sort of where we're going. So for me, what's my plan? My plan, I'm gonna grab Sunday and Fugue, and then I'm almost definitely gonna grab one of these two, and that's gonna be me hell out of Jades, I think, unless we're super lucky. But I have Jing Yuan already, and I'm skipping Firefly again. And yeah, I've got Aventurine already. I'm skipping Acheron again. And that's where I'm at, guys. That's where I'm at. For me, obviously, I did pick up Kafka for fun because I really like the character. I do have Kafka Black Swan, so something I'd be really looking for would be a Harmony that boosts up Dot. That'd be great. Maybe that will happen eventually. See some love for the Dot team. I don't know. For me, so I'm not an older player. I wasn't playing when Blade or Jing Liu came out or Locha, so I don't have any of them. So I don't know about HP manipulation. That might be like a whole team comp I just skip entirely. But I'd be looking. I'm probably looking towards the summon meta. I've got. I'll be picking up Sunday. I've got Ling Sha. I think I'm pretty well set for potential summon meta. I think I can do that. I've got my follow-up meta sorted. And I think picking up Fugue, again, I've got Ling Sha with Fugue. Great. Ron Mei, I've got her as well. I'm pretty well set for break. Even without Firefly, I've had no problem clearing any of the break stuff. And yeah, I'm hoping that will go forward. So Pure Fiction is probably the hardest endgame mode for me at the moment. So again, I'm looking to, I think hopefully Sunday with Jing Yuan will help with that somewhat. I think Fugue will help with that massively, bringing break teams much more powerfully into Pure Fiction. And yeah, possibly like picking up Rappa again. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'd love to pick up Rappa, but it's tough to fit her in. We'll see. I do think one of these, the Star 3.0, could help. That's my plans. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.